In this video today, I'm going to give you an example of imagining the circumstances of where pain appears. So this is helpful when somebody has a very predictive activity, place, movement, situation where the pain arrives, and using your imagination to elicit pain in that situation can actually be a really good mechanism of reversing it. So if you're interested in finding out about this, then watch the rest of the video. Hi, my name is Drew Coverdale. I'm a physiotherapist and I work with people with persistent pain and help them reverse that process. If you're interested in this subject and videos on it, then click the like or subscribe button to keep up to date with any new content in this area. Today I'm going to give you an example of imagining circumstances where pain appears, and that process can allow you to see the influence of that imagination on the experience of pain. In some people, the pathway is so sensitive that they don't actually have to do the movement to trigger the pain. They don't have to go to the place to trigger the pain. They don't have to repeat the injury to feel the pain again. The pathway is in place, and with persistent pain it's been there a long time, and it's linked to many other cues. And the more cues that you introduce to the brain and the body, but in this exercise it's just going to be introducing it to the brain, then the more potential it has for that pathway to fire. It's a bit like walking up to a haunted house, or you've been told a ghost story, and you feel the cascade of autonomic responses as the story gets a little scarier, and you're waiting for that moment where someone jumps out. I don't like horror films or scary stories, but some do, but we've all experienced that build up. And that's the same with this process. So let me give you an example of this in a clinical setting. So I had a patient who had right-sided neck and shoulder pain, and her pain had come on at a very stressful time. Whatever was going on in her life, it doesn't really matter the detail, but that was her pain, that was the manifestation of that. And you can look at why particularly. And she's one of these ladies that when she gets stressed, she gets busy and likes to clean. You know, it doesn't matter what the behaviour is, it's doing something really quickly that makes the person feel better. My wife kind of cleans when she's mad. It's either with me, kids, or someone else, but once you see it cleaning really fast, you know you're in trouble, or you might be. So this lady had that particular pattern, and we all have different patterns that we default to. So when someone is very stressed, there's a good chance they overuse that behaviour, so then it becomes a problem for them because they can't use the behaviour because they've done it too much. And that was the case in this lady's situation. So she's sat comfortably, or she was lying actually. So you get somebody comfortable, even if they have pain, you get them in the most comfortable position. If they have no pain, then they're already in a comfortable position out of pain, and you take them through the process of that activity that has been a trigger or is a trigger, but you do it in the mind, so it does need a little buy-in from them. So you have to be maybe curious, and you might have explained pain, and you might have understood that there's mind and body kind of influences, but it's a really nice tool to play with. So in her circumstances, we took her through the process of cleaning the windows, and I almost built up a bit of frustration for us. Those windows you like to clean, does it do your head in if they're not done? And she's, oh, I see all the finger marks on it. And I guess your husband sometimes helps you do it when you can't, and he probably doesn't do a good as job as you. She's, oh, he doesn't. So it kind of builds up the focus on it. And I said, okay, just for a moment, we're going to close your eyes. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. We're going to go through the process. And so we did just that. So her eyes are closed, and I said to her, right, you're going to set your stall out, so you're going to clean that big window in your kitchen or the living room, whichever one it is you choose. And you can see that window, and you've looked at what needs doing and where needs cleaning. And then you're going to picture going to get the red bucket or whatever colour bucket you use, and the cloth and the chamois leather or squeegee, whatever you use to clean the window, and you're going to go and get it all. And you see yourself filling up the water, the bucket with water, soapy water, putting whatever detergent goes in it, and taking it across to the window. and you've moved the furniture so you can get to where you need to get to, and you start putting the soapy water over the window and reaching up now to go through the task of cleaning it, and you can see yourself doing it. And I just asked her to say, what do you notice at the moment? She said my arm started to hurt. Wow, that's crazy. How is it? Why? And that experience is just showing her the influence of the brain on the prediction of what the feelings could be like if she goes for that activity at the moment. And that alone can be a real catalyst for improvement, and it was for this lady. So if you regulate your nervous system in that moment, so you kind of consider a thought that's different, or you can take someone through a breathing exercise, or you haven't moved them, so there's no physical threat. You just get them to curiously look at those sensations without fear, because they haven't actually done anything physical. So there's a real shift in that moment, and then you can just go through the exercise again. All right, now you picture the tap, picture the bucket, picture the window again. You're going to go back up to it. You've moved the furniture and you put the water on. Tell me what you notice now. And in her situation, she said, there's nothing there. So once you've accessed a pathway that's pain-free in the brain, you can access it in the body. And in that moment, you can ask the person to move again. Move. And she moved her arm. She didn't have any of the pain she had prior to coming in that moment. And it's quite it kind of messes with people's heads a little bit, because they're anticipating the same output from the brain with movement, and they're getting an alternate pathway. Well, that's called a reward prediction error. I'll talk about that another time. But essentially, the brain's seeing another opportunity to the one it anticipated, and if it's a pleasurable one or worthwhile repeating, it'll release dopamine to think, oh, this is good, and therein lies the opportunity to repeat it. So you're opening a pathway of possibility with this technique. It really is fascinating. I'll describe some other examples maybe at another time. There's another couple of people that one had problem putting on the trainers, not other shoes, certain set of trainers, and there was another one where patient visualized boiling a kettle. I'll talk about them in another video, but have a go if you're a clinician, if you've got that dialogue with the patient whether you think they might be open to it, and if you're a patient with persistent pain and you know your triggers, imagine yourself doing them and see what happens, and you can start to reverse that pathway, that pain, by working on it in a imaginary way to start with.